If you want to quit porn for good, there are 4 enemies working overtime to drag you down, pull you down, and stop you from accomplishing your dreams. You have to know what these enemies are, and you need to have the right weapons to fight against them. We're going to unpack all of that in the episode today. Welcome to the Man Within podcast. I'm your host, Sathya Sam, and I've dedicated the last 7 years of my life to helping men like you quit pornography, walk in freedom, and get their lives back on track so they can become everything that God has made them to be. I'm honored that you've tuned in, and I'm super glad that you're here. Look, what we're talking about today is something that I wouldn't have been able to articulate really just a couple of years ago. I mean, these are things that, this is not like, it's not like the 4 enemies that stop you from quitting porn. The devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. You know, that would have been my list of 4 a couple years ago. I think that's obvious. You know, we know there's an enemy who wages war against our souls. And the scripture has so many spiritual weapons that we can use to wage war and to defeat the enemy. So what I wanted to do today was talk about some maybe not so obvious enemies that might be at play in your life, and more importantly, talk about the weapons that you can use to wage war against them. So I think we're just going to jump right in. I don't have too much else to comment on. Let's get into the meat of it. So enemy number 1 is loneliness. Proverbs 18:1 says that a foolish man isolates himself and seeks his own desires. He rages against all wise counsel or all wisdom. So here's the interesting thing, right? You know, we've all experienced loneliness in our lives before. It's not like it's a sin to be lonely. Loneliness is an enemy, though. It is something that actually works against you because at its core, any struggle with sexual sin is ultimately a desire or an unmet need for connection and intimacy. And so we cannot just accept loneliness and say, well, I'm just lonely. That's just the way it is. We can't be apathetic towards our enemy of loneliness, because if we are, we will rage against all wise counsel. And how many times in your life have you found yourself alone making a bad decision? I mean, I made a lot of bad decisions with people around me, especially when I was in high school, university. I didn't have the right crowd. But as a grown man, all of my bad decisions are made alone. You know, especially when I don't process things, I don't talk it out with somebody. Like, all of my bad decisions happen alone. And if you're struggling with pornography, you can just add that to the list of bad decisions. So we have to fight loneliness. Now, we don't fight loneliness by making 100 friends. We don't fight loneliness by joining a club or playing on a sports team. The way you combat loneliness is through authenticity. Authenticity is the key. Or you really just need one relationship where you can be authentic and loneliness will disappear. That's the wild thing. Like, it's not hard. Well, maybe I'll say it this way. It's not complicated. It can be hard. You know, finding those people or finding that place, it can be hard. It's not impossible, though. I can hear some of you saying like, oh yeah, see, there's no one. There's no one for me. There's no one I can talk to. That's why I'm alone. Okay, you got to stop saying that. You got to stop thinking that. Number 1, it's not true. But number 2, it's actually just giving in to your enemy. Okay, we need to be intentional. We need to find places where we can be authentic. In the digital world, between all the digital online communities, you know, we have a free one, we have a paid one. There's 2 communities right here available before your very eyes, and dozens of other great communities out there that you can join. Some are free, some cost something. These are the ways that you can plug in if you don't have anyone in person. There's always a way. Enemy number 2 is God. Yes, God can be an enemy. What the heck are you talking about, Sathya? I thought you were a pastor. I didn't know you were so sacrilegious. How dare you? Okay, just hold on. Just pump the brakes and just listen to me for a minute. Scripture says this. It says it twice, right? Once in the book of Proverbs, and then James quotes it in the book of James. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. If you operate in pride, if you have pride in your heart about how you're going to quit porn, that you're going to do it all alone, which we already talked about, or that, you know, you don't need help from someone, that, you know, maybe whatever the pride is, or I'm not going to open up fully, I'm going to hold a little bit back. God is your opposition. The devil is the least of your worries. God opposes the proud. I mean, really think about that. God opposes the proud. When you and I are proud, God works against us. He cannot work with somebody who is proud. So if you have pride in your heart that you haven't confessed and you haven't repented of, then God is going to work against you. And God is the enemy. Excuse me. Let me say that differently. And God is an enemy that you need to factor in. Now, here's the good news. God isn't the enemy. I want to be super clear. And if we keep reading the scripture, we find our solution very quickly. So while God does oppose the proud, he gives grace to the humble. So when we humble ourselves and when we acknowledge that, okay, I can't do all this on my own, I do need help, I do need support, I do need to find places I can plug into, I do need some tools, I do need a system, I do need whatever it is. When we can really operate with the spirit of humility, I am willing to learn from somebody who's, whatever, younger than me, or somebody that I've had jealousy of in the past, or whatever it might be. God gives grace. Okay, grace is not a pardoning of sin. That's what mercy is. Grace is divine enablement. It's God's empowerment to do things you couldn't do on your own. He gives grace to the humble. My friend, operating in humility, it is a very powerful weapon. Enemy number 3, which we fight, is past experience. I've done this before. I've hired a coach. I've made a New Year's resolution. I've joined a community. I've opened up to somebody. It didn't go well. I'm not doing that ever again. And this is a huge mistake. The reason is your experience is not truth. It's not always truth. And so if you got convinced, like, yeah, I need to hire a coach. And so you went and you hired a therapist or a coach or whoever it was, and you didn't have a good experience. And then you decide, well, I'm never hiring a coach again. Bro, you just didn't hire the right coach, or you didn't find the right therapist. Sometimes it takes a couple tries, and that's okay. So you got to give yourself a little bit of margin here, a bit of flexibility. And so if past experience is the enemy, flexibility is our weapon. And it's flexibility that allows us to get back up and try again. Learn from the mistakes. Maybe you jumped into that coaching experience a little bit too quickly. Maybe you jumped in that community without really thinking it through. Maybe you jumped in and you didn't account for the time that was going to be required for you to do the work, right? Maybe there's some practical things you can learn from here. Get back up, try it again. All right. Enemy number 4, this is a bit of a broad category, bad influences. Okay, 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, bad company corrupts good character. Dude, you have a good heart. I know it. You are a man of integrity. I know it. You have good character. I know it. And still, your good character can be corrupted if you have bad influences. You're like, well, I don't hang around bad people. Like, I referenced like people in high school, right? University, people that were not good people to be around. Well, all right, fine. But I'm not even really talking about that. What about media? What kind of content do you watch? Who do you look up to? What kind of podcasts are you subscribed to? Who's influencing you online? What kind of accounts do you follow? Where are the influences in your life? Because some of these people, if they're not helping you towards your goals and your dreams, then they're working against it. There's no middle ground. They're either going to pull you away or they're going to propel you forward towards the things God's called you to. And guess what? Only you can control your influences. No one else can do that for you. And so if bad influences are the enemy, our weapon is choice. We need to exercise the power of choice to choose who influences us. That might mean that you unfollow a couple people. It might mean that you subscribe to some new podcasts, which if you haven't subscribed to this one, this is your reminder. Make sure you do that. Whether it's on YouTube or your podcast player, make sure you subscribe. Get good influences in your life that are going to lead you in the right direction. Exercise the power to choose that. Don't just follow it because everybody else is doing it. Don't just keep this person around because they're entertaining. If they're a bad influence, they're an enemy that's working against you, and they're going to hinder you from walking to the freedom that God has for you. My friend, these are the 4 enemies that you need to work against. Loneliness, God, but more specifically pride, past experiences, and bad influences. And if you activate the weapon of authenticity, humility, flexibility, and choice, if you can operate in those 4 weapons, you will be unstoppable this year and every year that follows afterwards. So I'm cheering you on. If you want a proper system, you want something a little bit more comprehensive, you want to put all of this into practice, make sure you download the Last Relapse. That's my blueprint for recovery from A to Z. It's got all the system. It's got all the details of the deep clean system that's helped over 1,000 men quit pornography successfully. That book's been read by over 20,000 men. I would love for you to get a free copy at thelastrelapsebook.com. I just need an email so I know where to send it. It comes with a free workbook and a free community as well if that's something that you're inclined to be a part of. That one's up to you. You can exercise your power of choice, as it were. Go to thelastrelapsebook.com to get your free copy now. And if you're more of a physical copy guy, you can buy anywhere books are sold, and we donate all the profits that we make from that to a charity in Uganda that is furthering the gospel in Muslim villages and Muslim areas. That's everything for today, guys. God bless you. Take another step and stay clean. I'll see you in the next one.